thinking differently than you're conditioned to think of. And we're going to get into that in a little bit when I start explaining how it is I ended up going to law school and how it is I changed from being a lawyer after 28 years to doing something totally different. I did go and have that donut, and I started to apply what I had learned previously. And what I had learned previously is that you need to be able to control what you can control. And the one thing that you can control that will be the most determinative thing for your career is your school. Okay? Your school and making grades is very, very important for your career choices. Because every A you get, that door of opportunity opens up a little bit more. And people, if anyone tells you grades aren't important, no one's going to change the rules for you. Grades are important. The better grades you make, the more career opportunities and choices you'll have. How do you make good grades? Now, since my two kids have been in kindergarten, one's now in high school and the other one is in 4th grade, I've made them repeat to me every single day these 7 things because I believe in them. To make your best opportunity for a good career, you need to try your best. It needs to be on a daily basis, but you need to try your best, and only you are going to know what your best is. Because only your best is yours. Everyone else's best is different, but you need to try your best. And the second most important thing, which is really the first most, and by the way, all of these things are overlapping. All of these things are interconnected and interrelated. You need to have fun. School is fun. You need to have a career that you can have fun with, because otherwise it's just work. Fun is a key. You need to be a leader. To achieve your best results in anything, including school, which is the most important thing right now for you guys, you need to do what's right when no one is looking, and you need to do what's right when everyone is looking. That could be during a test, during a sporting event, in the lunch line, at a party, after school. You need to be a leader. You need to be nice. Niceness goes a long way. There's a lot of cutthroat in high school and college and career finding and careers, and you can compete and try your best and have fun and be a leader, but being nice, I'm telling you, is a key, and it's harder than being mean. You need to be strong, because nothing that I'm saying today is easy. Being a high schooler in this day and age is difficult. Trying your best is difficult. Going to college, finding a career that you like, these are hard things. But one thing I am very certain about is that all of you are strong enough to do it. You are all way, way stronger than you could possibly imagine. The things that you can do physically and mentally, you have no idea, and you can do it. But you have to be strong, and in the moment, you have to think, I need to be strong for this. I can do it. This is kind of seems like it's out of left field, but I'm telling you, do not vape or smoke. That is the number one thing that you can do to sustain your health. And health and a good career go hand in hand. If you smoke and vape, that is going to limit your potential and your ability. And I'm not talking about just in high school or college. I'm talking about your entire career. And then the last thing is, this is going to take sweat, literal sweat. So you need to stay hydrated. These things may be laughable to you, but you're going to remember them. And I hope that you adopt them, because they work. And they worked for me, and I think they're working pretty good for my kids. Now, when it comes to, can you guys still see the screen okay? Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to your own careers, like I said, there's no one like you. So you need to find out what you like, and you need to explore different things. When you have a career, you have a job, and being able to explore other opportunities is not going to be as available to you as it is in high school and college. So what I found for myself was I liked writing. For you, it may be something else. And I'll tell you what, it's as important to know what you don't like as what you do like when you're trying to find out a career for yourself. Because if you find out you don't like it and you're in the career, that's going to be a problem. And it's better to find out earlier than later. So I was good at writing. I liked writing. So I looked at teaching. I thought about teaching. I talked to people about teaching. I found out what it would take to get my credential, what it meant to get a credential, private schools versus public schools. I looked at journalism. I wrote for the Daily Bruin at UCLA. I took classes in it. I looked at screenwriting and kind of getting into the entertainment business and that sort of thing. And I really tried to explore how it was that I could use something that I was good at and that I enjoyed to make a career out of it. But, the thing is, it wasn't just that I wanted to be a writer. I had to, for my own self, like we've discussed, I had to think outside the box for my own self. So what did that mean? I wanted to be a writer, yes, but I didn't want to be a starving writer. So what did I do? I ended up choosing to go to law school because I wanted to be a writer. I know that sounds a little bit not intuitive, but here's how I got there. I thought law school and being a lawyer was going to allow me to own my own business. I looked at it like I was going to get a franchise, like a McDonald's franchise, but instead of selling hamburgers, I was going to be selling my brain and my ability to help solve problems. That I was going to have the ability to have a license to do my own thing, and that was very important to me. So I wanted to be a writer, yes, but I wanted to own my own business. So I thought, well, law school, that might do that. And then I was a really competitive person, and I still really am. And I thought, you know what? If I go to law school and I open my own business, I can do litigation. Because I can tell you this, 99.999999, just like we were talking about before, lawyers who graduate law schools, they go to work for another lawyer and a law firm. And they don't get to go to court right away. They don't get to do trials right away. And I thought, well, I could use my writing, I could own my own business, and I could get that feeling of winning, which I really enjoyed. A career, no one's going to want to talk to you about money because it's kind of impolite. But when I was graduating UCLA, I thought to myself, I want to have a business and do something where I could get season tickets to the Lakers. That was my benchmark. Okay. Now, looking back on it, it is ridiculous and immature, silly. But at that time, that I was thinking about making a living. And that's something that you should think about too. There's nothing wrong with that. Not a lot of people work for free. So if you're going to work, maybe you might want to consider the amount of money you can make, what the upside is. And that again was pointing to, hey, maybe I'll go to law school. What was another point I liked about it? What I liked about writing, what I liked about lawyering was that I felt it was intellectual. I felt that there was this whole esoteric secret language that lawyers use. There was the history of law that goes back hundreds of years in common law and English law, and the history of the American Revolution and how it overlapped into due process. And I just thought it was very compelling and very interesting and very intriguing. And then the last thing I thought that I would get with all of these things was freedom. Because I thought, wouldn't it be great to be able to make my own hours, choose who I worked with, choose who I hired, all of those things. I really was not looking forward to having to work with other people and follow other people's rules. I wanted to make my own company and my own business. So, you know, these kind of goals are easy to say when you're drinking coffee in North Campus, Louvel Commons at UCLA. Okay, it's easy to say that we're going to strap on a parachute, open the door, and jump out an airplane. But when you're at that door and you got to jump out of that airplane, it's a different thing. So when I was getting ready to graduate from Tulane Law School in Louisiana, and let me say this, is that going to law school, there's another thing that I didn't list there, but it was that I could have gone to different places around the country, and I felt this was a great time to go live somewhere where I probably wouldn't end up living. And I'll tell you what, the South is someplace that I thought I was not going to end up living. The food is different, the music is different, the language is different, the people are different. It was like going to a foreign country, and it was an eye-opening experience that was wonderful. But when I came to graduation, I had to think about, well, should I take the well-worn path that every single other person in my class is doing? They are getting jobs with the district attorney, with other law firms, with companies. Or should I kind of really pull the trigger on what I thought I was going to end up doing, which was to start my own gig, my own law firm. So I did open my own law firm in 1993, directly out of college. And it took a little bit of luck. In my third year of law school, I showed up a month early. I joined the civil litigation clinic. And during your third year, you're allowed to go to court as long as there's a professor next to you. And I got a case in August. And by the time, a month before we graduated, I did what is to this day the only federal civil rights trial in the history of Tulane Law School. We won the trial. I did the whole process from beginning to end with Professor Jane Johnson. And it was super satisfying. And I thought, hey, I could do that. So I did open my own law firm. I got to go to court right away. I got to do lots of trials and talk to juries. I got to go to the Court of Appeal and write briefs and argue in front of the Court of Appeal. And it's because I kind of had a plan, because I started thinking about it when I was in high school. I started thinking about it in college. And that is kind of the key. I never in a million years in high school thought I would be a lawyer. And it was only really until my last year of law school last year of college, that I thought I would go to law school. I grew my own business. So this is a non-lawyer part of it. But again, it was something that I thought, hey, maybe I could have my own business. So I got to do stuff, I did everything for the first 10 years. I had no employees. It was just me. And I licked the stamps. I went to the mailbox. I got office supplies. I bought the computers. I did the networking. And then eventually I got to train lawyers and paralegals. I never had more than 6 employees working for me, but I had a few attorneys working for me. I hired all attorneys out of law school. I got to train them exactly how I thought that a lawyer should be trained. No one trained me. And no one teaches you how to file taxes or do any of the kind of business stuff and the law stuff. I had to learn under kind of trial by fire, so to speak. And it was great. I loved it. And I had lots of fun. It was really hard. It was really difficult. I had to be strong, but I had lots of fun. And it was all the things I thought it would be. And I tell you what, I'm going to tell you the thing I'm most proud of in my 28 years. Now, I've retired as a lawyer. Part of what I did was I gave up my law license. That's another thing, kind of thinking outside the box, because most attorneys, when they retire, they keep their law license. But I wanted to make sure that I never practice law again for a lot of reasons, but I gave it up. So I'm an ex-lawyer. But one day a client came to me named Amber Dewick, and you can Google this case, Dewick versus Toyota. The other co-defendant was a company much bigger than Toyota named Saatchi & Saatchi. They are one of the largest advertising firms in the world. They came up, and I won't go into detail, but you can look it up. I think it's fascinating, but they came up with an idea that was so crazy and outside the box when it came to marketing their cars that it ended up causing my client to be injured. And to this day, this case, which I got to do the trial, I got to argue it in the Court of Appeal. We made law. It's taught in law schools from Harvard to Michigan to UCLA on down for first year contracts cases. It's the leading case in what's called internet click-through agreements, which are those agreements that you have to say, I agree, in order to get to the website. But unlike most cases, it's also the leading case in California having to do with fraud before the contract is signed. So the case actually made law in two separate areas of the law, although overlapping, having to do with contracts. But the reason I think that this case is most apropos and applicable to what we're talking about today is that these people went to 10 law firms, big law firms in downtown LA, before they chose little old Nick Tepper to see if anyone would take their case. So because I had decided to work for myself, and because I valued being able to decide who I worked with and what cases I could take, I looked at this case and I knew that this was unjust. I knew that what Toyota was doing was unfair. And I knew that it was an area of the law that needed definition because it was an area of first impression. So while all these other firms didn't see value, I saw the value, and we got a lot of money, and we made a lot of new law that still exists. I'm very proud of it. And it's kind of one of those God bless America moments. So it's very, very lucky. And I do think this is kind of the pinnacle of my 28 years. But, sometimes the luck is that you get is because it's the luck that you make. So I had 28 years from 1993 to 2021. That's right. This year I was a lawyer. But what happened was, by the time COVID hit, my business really was about landlord and tenants. And if you remember, or if you don't know, I'll let you know, is that this is the one area of the law that was completely and totally shut down. So my business was shut down. And instead of doing something else, I started thinking outside the box a little bit differently. How can I use this as an opportunity to change my life and change my career? And so what I did was I thought, well, you know what? I've had my own business where every single November 30th going into December 1st, I had to start from zero every single month. I had to be responsible for paying insurance and salaries and taxes and getting clients and advertising. maybe I should try working with a company, because I had never done that. I had always been the boss. I'd always been the person who everyone had to answer to, not the other way around. And so I also thought, you know what? I've had 28 years of going to court. And let me tell you what going to court is. Going to court is you win or you lose. It's a binary it's a binary situation where there's no ambiguity. Someone is playing defense against you, and they're telling the judge why it is that you're wrong and they're right. And while that did satisfy the competitive nature of me that I have, I felt that maybe I was in a time of my life where I would want to do something that's a little more cooperative, building bridges instead of blowing up bridges, where it's not a zero-sum situation. It is everybody wins. So that's something I was thinking about. And then I was thinking my entire career was about words. So I would have to write summations to talk to the jury about. I would have to write briefs for the Court of Appeal. I would have to write motions for the court. When you're an attorney, and especially when you're a litigator, you're a professional writer. So I was right, R-I-G-H-T. I was right about that as far as being a lawyer. You are a writer, and I was able to use my writing. But you know what? Maybe now I could do something totally different. I could do something with numbers. So I thought about it, and I ended up with New York Life. So instead of my little shingle out there with 6 employees, I'm now working with a Fortune 67 company that has 13,000 employees in every state. Everybody in the company is above me because I just started last month. Okay? But I will tell you, it is super satisfying because I get to work with people. There's no one playing defense or saying that I'm wrong. And we're helping people plan for their futures. I use many of the same skills that I use as an attorney. So for instance, I'm talking about ideas and advocating solutions. So someone comes to me like Amber Dewick did and said, look what Toyota did to me. I have to figure out the idea, come up with a solution. Same thing I'm doing here. It's just cooperation instead of competition. And same thing, command of the facts and complex ideas. It's very intellectual. It has a lot more to do with numbers. There are a lot of complex ideas having to do with all kinds of products. This isn't a commercial for New York Life by any means, but it's just finances and all kinds of stuff. Now, when you're a lawyer, you have to take what's called continuing legal education. So every 3 years, you have to show them that you did about 25 hours worth of work in order to keep your license. I will tell you that right now, I study about 3 hours a day, every single day, taking classes for New York Life. And I think that's something that will probably continue forever. There's so much to learn. I've taken 1 test so far that I passed, and I have to take 3 more securities tests. And it's just awesome. So let's see here. Got a little snafu going on here. Oh, there's another thing that I like about it, which is when you go to work for a company that is like New York Life, a big financial planning company, they don't give you clients. It's not like going to a law firm where they're like, you're an associate and they give you clients and you have to meet with them. I'm still my own boss. I still make my own hours. If I want to take an hour out of my day to do this presentation, it's my choice. If I want to not work, it's my choice. If I don't want to have someone as a client, it's my choice. I have to do that, make make my own clients, make my own book of business. So I really enjoy that. So these are some of the things that I do. And again, it's just building bridges, helping people grow their money, helping businesses keep their employees, making sure kids go to college and graduate debt-free, stuff like this. This is having to do with mortgage protection. All this kind of stuff is positivity, cooperation. It's a win-win. Building things literally and figuratively, having fun and learning. These are all things that I wanted to do. My brain is on fire for the first time in a long time because I'm learning so much new stuff. And it's a wonderful experience. And it's a sweet experience. And I do feel lucky, but I also feel that we make our luck. What does luck as the residue of design mean? It's what it means. It means luck is something that we put ourselves in a position to capitalize on. I could have told you that I was going to end up doing a do-it case, and I could have told you that I was going to do financial planning for New York Life and resign being a lawyer. I couldn't have told you that. But I was able to do that because I tried my best, because I had fun. I had so much fun in my first career, and I'm having a lot of fun in my second career. And there's an overlap of what I learned in the first and I've learned in the second. And the point is that these 7 rules that I'm going to reiterate right now, they work for everything. When I have my kids, I have a 14-year-old and a 10-year-old. You have to be a leader every single day with your kids. I have to be a leader every single day in my job. So these are important things. Being nice is maybe the best moneymaker I could tell you about. Being nice, okay? And by the way, when it comes to relationships, these are the people that I've always tried to have in my life. People who are nice. If they're not nice, I don't want to be around them. Nothing that I've talked about is easy. The only thing is easy is putting it off till tomorrow or not doing it at all. So getting into college is not easy. Being a teenager in this day and age is not easy. And by the way, it's never been easy. Life isn't easy, but if you can follow these rules, your career path is going to be more enjoyable, and you'll have more options, and you will have more time to enjoy them, especially if you don't smoke. Do not smoke and drink lots of water, okay? So we're back to the kitty. I want to wish all of you good luck. Make your own luck. Stay strong because you are strong. You have no idea how strong you are, but you are so strong and you can do it. I want to thank you for being here with me today. And this is my email. I want you to take it down. Anyone who's watching this later on or watching it now, feel free to contact me. I'd be happy to talk to you, be happy to interact in any way that you see fit. And it's really been my pleasure. It's really been inspiring thinking about talking